colon cancer, stage 2B. He talked about chemo and radiation and PET scan and CT scan and stoma bag. Now I didn't know what the hell a stoma bag was. Just then, I had a look at the three people I love the most in my life, and I saw their faces simply crumple. It was as if they were seeing my death in my own eyes. At that moment, I knew I had to shift the narrative. As a writer, a storyteller, an inspirational speaker, and a comedian, I had to write my own story, like she said, live it and love it. So I saw Madhvi I met Madhvi on 23rd October 1986 at 11:05 and fell completely, totally, absolutely in love with her. It was love at first sight. It took me 7 seconds. It took her 7 months. She's always been a bit slow. So after we declared or we made our mutual confession, I wrote a letter to my father. There was no email then. And he sent a telegram. Congratulations to you and Madhvi coming to Rourkela to bless both of you. We were in Rourkela. She went the same day of our confession to Bhubaneswar, an overnight journey where her parents were staying, to tell them about her proposal to marry me. She came back 2 days later, all disheveled and completely crunched, teary-eyed. I said, what happened? He said, my father has gone berserk. He's saying there's no question of you marrying Ramin. Or that fellow, not Ramin, that fellow. But a North Indian and that too a Banya, no question at all. He just went crazy. I said, you should have tried to convince him. You think I didn't try? I wept, I raved, I ranted, I pleaded, I besieged, I implored. But he was not willing to budge an inch. And I said, what about your family? The family also rallied around him. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the next 5 or 6 months, every weekend Madhvi would go and try to reason with her family, come back completely broken. Then one Monday after she returned, she looked at me and she said, Ramin, मैं अपने सपनों का शीश महल अपने पिताजी की मृत्युशैया पर नहीं बना सकती. I was gobsmacked. I said, what the bloody hell? Madhvi, who looks like Madhuri Dixit, laughs like Madhuri Dixit, and talks like Madhuri Dixit, is talking like Nirupa Roy and Kamini Kaushal or Mary Magdalene. This marriage is not going to last. So I came back, I resigned from my job, some of you guys know, and joined a consultancy firm in Hyderabad. After, I think, 4 or 5 months, I got a letter from her. Dearest Ramin, dearest Ramin, if you can come to Rourkela for a day and meet me, it would be great. But it's okay if you're too busy. I said, I'm too busy. I've been living in the bloody post office 24/7, waiting for this missive. I rushed within 30 hours, the closest possible time. I was with her. She rushed into my arms and she said, let's get married. I said, what about that Mrityushaya, that hunger strike and all that? He said, it was all drama. Now she's an MSc chemistry. Her sales job then was really, really very secure and very plush kind of job. She wouldn't have got a job like that in Hyderabad. She would have had to struggle. Then I approached the management of Rourkela Steel Plant. They said, okay, we'll take you back, but you'll have to be a fresh entrant. That means I would have to be 2 years junior to my wife and also to my batchmates. I rang up my father and I told him my predicament. Here, this is what he said. नौकरी तो मिल जाएगी, लेकिन मनपसंद छोकरी नहीं मिलेगी. अगर वो तैयार है तो आ जाओ नागपुर, where my sister and brother-in-law were there. We'll make all the arrangements. I placed Ankita in on my father-in-law's lap. She smiled at him. At that moment, he's a psychologist. At that moment, he thought that anybody who's responsible to the extent of 50% of the production of this angel cannot be a devil. So he hugged me, and after that, the end of the tragedy happened, and we later became the best of friends. But what about my job? Now, in 1988, where women's emancipation had just begun to happen, or it hadn't happened, if you are 2 years junior to your wife, who's brilliant, who's charming, who's intelligent, congratulations, Ramin, and condolences, Ramin. So somebody asked, why congratulations and why condolences? He said, congratulations because his wife Madhvi got promotion, and condolences because he did not. So there was shame all over. Then there was one guy from my department. He said, Sir, if this kind of thing continues, one day you'll have to report to madam in the office. So I said, what's the big deal? At home I report to her, in the office I'll report to her. And don't forget, her office is on the 4th floor and mine is on the ground floor. So now coming back, and the reason why I'm saying this story is not to just declare how beautiful or gorgeous my wife is and how love-smitten I am, but mainly to say that even a simple thing like a love marriage, which could have been so easily settled. And now my father-in-law is my storytelling session and tells me how well I've spoken. God knows what happened to him. It was just one of those, what should I say, slaps of fate or kicks of fate which I had to endure. So I suffer from a whole chain of ailments. I suffer from a condition called brittle diabetes, where the sugar levels oscillate between, say, 45 in the morning to 512 the same day. Almost like my wife's mood when she's upset with me, you know. The levels move from one extreme to the other. In 2016, some of my friends know I was diagnosed with a condition called, vaguely called hemangioma, where there was a polyp growing near my vocal cord. But it was a very, very serious condition. I was rushed from Rourkela to Apollo Hyderabad, where this critical surgery was performed. And luckily, it was done very well. And that's why I'm speaking to you today. In between, I also had trysts with COVID and tuberculosis. Through all this, as Dr. Ananda Shankar said, I managed with my mantra of managing every tumor with humor. So 3 times I knocked on the door of death, shook hands with Lord Yama, and walked back to the kingdom of the living. My beautiful, gorgeous wife played Savitri to my Satyavan. Tari ho jaye bhai. Amazing, incredible family, whom I call Ma. My friend SRK, I call him SRK, appreciates this particular coinage. Madhvi, Ankita, Aniket, and my lab Aryan. My Ma, Amitabh had Ma in Diwar, my Ma supported me. My large intestine was cut off, and the small intestine was brought out and a stoma bag was fitted. Then the reconnecting surgery happened on April 6th. That completely haywire. So there is a bacteria in everybody's gut. It's called Klebsiella. But there was one positive side to it. My wife always thinks that I'm gutless. But that day she was convinced that I have gut, because in the gut the bacteria was there, it came out from the gut. But seriously, it was a dangerous situation. I went into a septic shock. My family was called at around 11 o'clock in the night, and they were told that you can have a look and you can call your friends and relatives. I'm on my forehead and started talking. Aniket told her, "Have you lost it, man? He can't hear you." He said, "I don't care, I have to do this." The scene was straight away from an Amitabh Bachchan movie of the 70s. The hero or the comedian in this case is lying on the bed, and the family is all around, and they are praying, and suddenly he gets up and says, "Main kahan hu?" But this was not real life, this was real life. And in real life, miracles don't happen. But would you believe it? As my daughter started speaking, the BP, my beautiful, gorgeous wife, and my handsome son also joined in, and they kept at it for more than an hour. And when the BP reached 117, the doctors, one of the nurses was monitoring, he talked to the doctor, who said, "Ramin, there are situations or incidents which cannot be explained by science. There was an energy, there was a connect between you and your daughter, and that brought you from the brink of death to the kingdom of the living." I was diagnosed on 30th of 29th of November. 1st of December, I said, "I'm going to go on social media." Madhvi said, "Why the bloody hell? This is a very private thing." So I told her, when I've shared the worst of times, why should I, the best of times, why should I not share the worst of times? So I went crazy. Wacky messages, Amitabh Bachchan's dialogues, parodies of Amitabh Bachchan's dialogues. "Aaj to bahut khush hoge tum. तुम्हारे पास मेरे कोलोन है, तुम्हारे पास मेरे नोट्स हैं, तुम्हारे पास ये है, मेरे पास क्या है, मेरे पास मेरी माँ है." That kind of things, filled the social media. And my daughter knows that I'm crazy about dancing. So one day after my first radiation, normally people are not able to walk, But she told me, "Papa, can we do a dance video?" I said, "Aisa mauka kahan milega? Let's do it." So we changed 7 dresses. Ani did the photography, I did the choreography, and both she and I danced to Jawan Jane Man, Hasina Dilruba. And she posted it on Insta by prayers, giving me that strength to fight. Then there was the director of Indian Institute of Mass Communication who wrote a column on me in a couple of papers. There was this friend of mine who said that, Anand, the movie Anand, Rajesh Khanna's role, is very romanticized. Nobody in real life can be like that when he's facing cancer. So she told that go and have a look at Ramin's social media posts. He's Anand 2.0. Then there was one guy who called me Ramin Sher Khan. So I told him, भाई घर में तो मैं भीगी बिल्ली हूँ, बीवी के नाम से कांपता हूँ, तो मेरे को रमेन शेर खा बोल रहे. And then there was this friend of my daughter's who's the first in Mount Everest. So when she summited Mount Everest, she thanked the Lord, thanked her parents, and prayed for my health. One or two coping mechanisms, a card called Anytime Memory Card. So what do you need to create this card? 2 4-letter words, love and time. And why is this card important? Because it can't be hacked, it cannot be stolen, its value keeps increasing. So how do you create this card? By doing silly things, by doing funny things, by just taking a walk. We used it during our COVID fight. On October 8th, I had gone. October 7th, I went for a PET scan, my annual PET scan. So there, the doctor told me that there is some metabolic activity. I asked him, what could it be? He said there might be a recurrence of cancer. Now you can imagine what would have passed in the minds of me and my family. Cancer again means what? Again surgery, possibly chemo, radiation, blah, blah, blah. So for 24 hours, I was on pins and needles. So next day they took me for a sigmoidoscopy on the bed or whatever it's called. And for 2 hours, I was just waiting for the 2 doctors to come and see. Me and my family must have died 100 times. Fortunately, it turned out to be some hemorrhoids. There was no recurrence of cancer. But every time this PET scan is going to happen, I'm going to have that thing at the back of my mind. But if I start dwelling on it, I will smash, smudge, and smother the beautiful moments I'm sharing with you now. So I don't look for tomorrow. I live in the present moment. And she talked about normalizing, which I've mentioned. Now, I have always, when my daughter was born, I told Madhavi, I will not clean her poop. Not Madhavi's. Fortunately, she had outgrown that age. But my daughter, Ankita's, because poop or crap simply grossed me. I said, I'll dance to Ankita's gurgles and all, but I won't do it. Who would know that after 3.5 decades, I would be literally lying in shit over hours together. Because I was fitted with a stoma bag, it would leak. We had to wait for the male nurse. Sometimes he would come late. And during that process, I would be lying in crap. So necessity is the mother of invention, as the cliche goes. I looked for a bathing apron, ostomy bathing apron on Amazon, and I got one. So I tucked my stoma bag in it, and then I'm able to go for my storytelling sessions and even dance on stage. One thing I would like to finally end, like she said, is if you have to take anything, take humor seriously. So there was a flip side to all this, my fight. There was a doctor, a friend of mine, who said, bro, for the last 6 months, half of Bangalore has been staring into my rectum. How much more antarmukhi should I get? Then there was this aged family friend of Madhavi's, very close family friend. He told Madhavi, what is Ramen doing? He's making a mockery of cancer. He's flirting with death. If he continues like this, he'll die in bits and pieces. I told Madhavi, please tell him, Ramen will not allow any colon to put a full stop, a comma, or even a semicolon to his creativity and humor. Please clap. Major punchline. Also tell him, 2022 is the age of the comedian. Zelensky in Ukraine, Bhagwan Mahan in Punjab, and hopefully Ramendra Kumar in Bangalore. Finally tell him that Ramen believes in 2 great philosophers, Gabbar Singh, who told in 1975, Jo dar gaya, samjho, and 2022 Pushpa, Sala, main jhukega nahi. Or my favorite film star, the star of the millennium, Amitabh Bachchan, who had this soliloquy in Silsila, Mai aur Meri Tanhai. So I am addressing cancer. Mai aur Mera Cancer. मैं और मेरा कैंसर अक्सर ये बातें करते हैं, तुम ना होते तो ऐसा होता, तुम ना होते तो वैसा होता. न रेडिएशन का यूं तोड़ना, न कीमो का निचोड़ना, न सर्जरी की दहशत, न स्कैन्स की परेशानी, हर ओर एक काली स्याही, एक अजब सी हैरानी. मैं और मेरा कैंसर अक्सर ये बातें करते हैं, सही पहचान नहीं होती, मेरे दिल में सदा खिलती ये मुस्कान नहीं होती, रिश्तों की भी शायद सही पहचान नहीं होती, मेरे दिल में सदा खिलती ये मुस्कान नहीं होती. यूँ हालातों से लड़ने की हिम्मत नहीं होती, अपनों को हिम्मत देने की ये ताकत नहीं होती। कैंसर तुमने मुझको खुद से मिला दिया, कैंसर तुमने मुझको खुद से मिला दिया, विष में घोल कर ही सही जैसे अमृत पिला दिया। तुम न होते तो अब इतना मस्त नहीं रहता, कल की फिक्र में आज को मसल देता। तुम न होते तो इतना मस्त नहीं रहता। थैंक यू।